Guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Death in Paradise Christmas Special 2024. So this is going to be overall review of how I felt like the series went, and well, I say this series, I mean this episode. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good. I like the kind of mystery between the Father Christmas thing, the three deaths of, well, so to say there was actually two deaths of Father Christmas, and like who who was behind it all, whether it was a big plan or not, and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to get into all the little details of the episode. I thought it was a solid episode. It felt quite different to the previous episodes of Death in Paradise I watched, but I thought it was good nonetheless. And it was great to see the new detective, Mervyn Wilson, D.I. Mervyn Wilson. I thought the guy playing him did a really great job. I know his name's Don uh, Giblet. I think it's something like that. I can't remember how you say his surname. Yeah, but he was really good in the role. His detective, to me, felt quite different and quite contrasts a lot of the previous detectives in a way. He's more kind of all over the place and a bit scatty and all around the place. He's just a bit confused. Um, he's also a bit aggro and a bit not particularly very nice to people. But I feel like you understand why, because they get into all these little details in the episode about him not knowing who his birth parents were and stuff like that, and how he went to San Marie to find his mum, and then when he gets there, she's dead. So that's a bit sad, isn't it? And he has that nice chat with the commissioner as well, about why he should stay here to feel close to home, but in the end, he doesn't. He doesn't want to stay here, and that's like a lot of the other detectives. They don't want to stay here. Like, I remember Richard Poole didn't want to stay here, and nor did Ralph Little. Them two didn't want to stay here at all. They hated it. Whereas characters Chris Marshall's detective and Ardlo Hanlon's detective liked it in St. Mary, but this new guy doesn't seem to like it at all. I think he's a good actor. He was. I know him from being Lucas Johnson in EastEnders, the murderer, terrifying vicar. Yeah, mad. So that's quite cool seeing him in a slightly different role. I know he has been in Death in Paradise before in 2015. Um, yeah, in a slightly different role. I think he actually played a murderer. Actually, I'll have to double check on that, but I think he did play a murderer, which is kind of odd considering now he's the detective and the lead for the series. So I think that's the series coming up. But yeah, I think he did a good job. But yeah, let's get into the main story. So basically, we open with so we have the Father Christmas being shot on the beach. This little boy sees the Father Christmas being shot at with a gun, obviously, and then this kid runs downstairs and says, "Oh, there's been a. I think I just saw a man being killed, or whatever." And then we cut to Death in Paradise titles and all that sort of stuff. The Death in Paradise titles are a bit different this time because I know a lot of the Christmas specials they like to not do it in the normal style, which means you don't have all the photos popping up all over the place and stuff. And it's just like shots of San Marie, which is actually Guadeloupe, rather shots around that and then title cards and everything. Yeah, so it's always a bit different with Christmas specials. I don't know why they're always like that, but they are. But yeah, so when we were introduced to this episode, me and my family were like, "Oh, I recognise that person. I recognise that person. I recognise that person. I recognise that person," which was quite funny because we like within like the first 5 seconds, my brother was like, "Oh, that's the woman from Waterloo Road. That's the guy from I've Got No Head or whatever." I can't remember the proper name of that program. It used to be on CBC. I used to watch it back in the day. Yeah, and then Phoebe Sparrow from Goodnight Sweetheart pops out. It was just like, and that guy from Horrible Histories. I know it was just like, but yeah, so that was quite mad in itself. And then the guy from Doctors. I should be mentioning this, but it was all over the place. But that's completely mad that all of these different actors were in it. But then again, they are actors, and it does make sense. But it was quite cool seeing all of that. So the first Father Christmas to be shot was the guy from. Sorry, I've lost my head. He gets he gets killed in the first few seconds, and he sings this song, and there's this whole plot about this song during the episode. Who owns the rights to this song? And then we have this guy who's got this big house, and he supposedly owns the song. He has the license to it or whatever. But the guy from Horrible Histories, his mum actually sang the song, and the woman who was in Goodnight Sweetheart, Phoebe Sparrow, that's what I'm going to keep on referring to her as. She actually was actually just the face for the song and lip sync to it, whereas his mum was actually the person who sang the song. So there was a bit of tension and a bit of beef going around all that. That sounds really weird saying beef, but that's So I thought that was a great little plan. And then obviously, so we have first guy shot dead on the beach. We don't know who killed him. And then we got the second guy shot dead in his villa. And then the third one is just a funny guy. There's this guy and he gets shot out in the arm, so they didn't kill him or anything, and he has his arm in a sling. So, and for his own safety, he has to be protected by Dwayne. So Danny John Jules is back. Love Danny John Jules. I think he's a really great actor, and I think it's really great him popping up and doing Death in Paradise again. But I think that he's going to leave because he mentioned in the episode about spending more time with his dad, and his dad was in this episode. That's something I've got to mention is because I think the last time we saw him was probably like 2018 or 2017 or something like that. It's been a long time since we last saw his dad pop up in the show, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, and he might leave to go and look after him, be with him, which I thought was pretty cool. Well, I think it was nice seeing Danny Jules back as Dwayne. Obviously, he was in the previous series, and he's come back for Christmas specials in the past. But I think it was a really nice touch, him coming back. And then, obviously, with him with his dad, and him having to not spend Christmas with his dad, which I thought was pretty sad. But his dad did not seem that sad about it because he got to spend his Christmas with Darlene's family, and he was very happy about that. So that was rather funny. I love these characters. Devon Paradise, it's like you really do a great balance between drama and comedy, and I don't know how they do it. They just do it so perfectly, and I think that's really great. So I did like that, how he was kind of happy that we're spending Christmas with Darlene's family rather than Dwayne, but then he was also like, well, he's kind of missing out on Dwayne, and Dwayne was a bit upset about it. But so basically, this other guy who was Father Christmas got shot at whilst walking home or whatever at 10:15, and all of the events occur at 10:15. You meant to think there's a whole plan going on, but actually there isn't. But I'll get into that later. So that was rather intriguing. Something I did really like was the fact is that they put Dwayne in this safe house with the guy who was shot at, and they don't get along. We see it earlier in the episode. They don't really like each other. So I found that really funny, and they had to share this one bed because they hadn't packed two beds, and it was just funny, completely funny. It was brilliant. And he ends up telling people his location, the guy who'd been shot at, and they send him a dog as a Christmas present for his for his daughter. So Dwayne comes up with an idea of getting the boat over with his dad on and the guy's daughter, so then they can spend Christmas Day together. And I thought that was a really nice touch. I thought that was really quite nice, and I loved that comedic element. I think you just put Danny John Jules. Like he's a really great actor. He's also really funny in this. I love him as Dwayne. He does a really great job. And it was just funny the kind of banter between these two guys, and it was just comedic on every level, and I loved it. So they got to spend Christmas Day on the boat, and that was pretty cool. And Darlene says that when she was on the beach with the guy from Horrible Histories who has the gun, they saw him in the background, and that was kind of funny that she mentioned that. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So I thought that was really funny having all of them together. Something else I am going to mention is the new detective. Back to the new detective. I do like the fact that they're trying to make it as if the detective doesn't like being in the station. He likes to be out and about. He likes there to be talk about the case when there's loads of people around. He likes to just talk about that and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. Something else I'm going to mention: the Christmas market at in St Marie. There's they have the new detective. Obviously, he's there, and then there's this woman speaking to the commissioner, being like, and the woman starts getting all panicked. And I'm pretty sure he was the killer, or whatever. Turns out he wasn't, but I don't really know what was going on. It was a bit weird. He was apparently the prime suspect, which was a bit weird. Um, a bit bizarre, really, because you're meant to think, is this guy? Can I trust him? Can I not trust him? Which I think was rather cool. But I think the guy did a solid job, and I hope, because he's quite different to any of the other previous detectives, just in the way his mannerisms are, and quite he's more ruder, I would say, than any of the other detectives. So I think he's going to be an interesting detective. But I look forward to seeing what the guy's got, to do, like in the future, and hope we do find out some more a bit about his family history. I think that would be pretty cool because he might have a brother or something like that, and we might find out about that, or a sister or something like that, or his dad, whoever he is, but we don't know yet. But I think that would be pretty cool. Something else I'm going to mention is, for some bizarre reason, Christmas special was aired on Sunday the 22nd, which I felt was quite odd because normally it's aired on Boxing Day. So I don't know why. Maybe it was to do with the time schedules. I know Outnumbered's on, and I'm really excited for that, and I'm looking forward to it. So I thought that was a bit odd. But yeah, I do like how the commissioner was kind of a bit wary of this new guy, and every time the Mervyn Wilson, D.I. Mervyn Wilson, interacted with anyone, he was a bit frosty and a bit not particularly very nice. When the commissioner introduced Naomi, he just completely blanked her, which is just rude on every level. Also, when Catherine introduced herself, he completely blanked her, which I think was really horrible, just in that way that he decided to blank her. Like, I just thought that was a bit not very nice, but the guy is all over the place. He's just a bit of a mess, really. And also mentioned not having family, and I feel like in the next series he might develop more of a family connection with the team, and I think that would be pretty cool to see. But yeah, back to the case, the main case. So, obviously, the three Father Christmases, or Santas as they're known, mainly. I still call him Father Christmas, obviously, because that's just what I've always called him. So, we have those three shootings, and turns out the main case is, towards the end, we find out that the guy from Doctors, he was making his own Christmas song. Well, I say his own Christmas song. He was doing a remake of, or like a redo of a song of the other guy, and that's why he turns out he shot him so he could get the rights to then do a proper music of it. And I thought that was really cool because I was convinced that guy was the killer. But yeah, I was right, but I was kind of right. So that was pretty cool to see. But the guy from Horrible Histories, turns out he shot the actual Father Christmas on the beach, but he told his son to report it later, so then it wouldn't look like he was involved, which I thought was pretty good. And then they had that repeated time of 10:15 all the way throughout the story, and I thought it was a pretty good job, and I solidly enjoyed the way that came across in that episode, and I think it was a really cool concept having all three of these shootings happen at the same time. But obviously they made them seem as if they were happening at different times. And then the guy from Horrible Histories and the guy from Doctors, they basically teamed up and shot some random guy who was also dressed as Father Christmas to kind of make it all look like it was connected in some way. They all had something to do with each other. And turns out they didn't, which is what D.I. Mervyn Wilson says at the end of the episode. It was to confuse us and to make us think that something else was something else, which I thought was pretty cool. And I do like the great scene where he solves the murder whilst he's just in a basketball. He's never played basketball, and he keeps on shooting and saying, "How can I shoot three different holes at the same, hoops at the same time?" And it was and then they worked out a way that it could have happened with the different times going on and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was a really cool concept, and I really do love Death in Paradise. I think that it's just a solid show, and I hope this guy does a great job as the new detective. D.I. Mervyn Wilson, I think he's going to be a good detective. I really hope so. I don't know how long he'll stay as the detective. I reckon, a good few years, I reckon. Because Ralph Little, who played the detective, played for like 4 years or something. So he did do it for quite a long period of time, and I wonder whether he will be doing it for the same amount of time longer or even shorter. I don't know, but I think he will do a good job. I just didn't really like the way he was a bit frosty with everyone, but I guess his character will warm up and become nicer, I guess, going throughout the series is. But yeah, I think it was a really great little episode and a great Christmas special, really. I've really put me in a Christmassy mood. So Merry Christmas, everyone, and yeah, Death in Paradise. Hopefully, we'll be back with another series. I don't know though; they haven't confirmed anything yet. I don't think, but yeah, I hope it does a good job, and he's offered the role as the new detective in St. Murray. But will he take it? I think he definitely will, because at the end scene there was him in his car and he's just like driving down the road, but he's thinking, should I stay or should I go? And I think he will stay. And so that'll be really interesting. Looking forward to going into the new year, and hopefully we'll get a new series. And hopefully I'll grow to like this detective more, because I think I can see some potential, because he does have quite different um, characteristics and character traits in comparison to the other detectives. So I hope he does a good job. And yeah, I'd just like to end the video now by saying Merry Christmas, and I hope you will have a lovely Christmas. And I'll be back with some more videos very soon. I've got I'm gonna plan to do a review of There Goes the Groom, which is last of the Summer Wine Christmas special. So that'll be coming at some point soon, either on the 24th or on the 26th. So stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and Merry Christmas, and goodbye for now.